Hello. Oh, do I have a good one that I want to unpack with you today? So somebody in the HSM Academy, we'll call her Jay, she just posted a great question. She says, I have started and stopped the paper pencil journal 3 times and I just don't know what's wrong. I just feel so restricted, like it's just another diet. What's wrong? You know, is it something that I'm doing? And I love this question because what it does is it really highlights that where you go, there you are. And when we say where you go, there you are, we don't just mean you, your higher level brain. We also mean your low brain, your lower level brain, your primitive brain, the one that we talk about in the Thinking Leads to Eating series. And what this shows up as for me as a coach when I hear that is this is somebody who's just not aware of the fact that their lower brain is kind of running the show, and they are going to do this behavior no matter what plan they go on. And you probably understand this really well. Like, you can jump into WW and all of a sudden it feels super restrictive, or you jump into calorie tracking, it feels super restrictive. And really, the lower brain is what's making it restrictive. Nobody is standing there with a gun to your head telling you what you have to eat and what you can't eat. But that chatty Cathy in your head, it's got a lot to say about every decision you make. And it goes with you wherever you are. Because when I talk to people about the paper pencil journal, I'm very clear. I say, look and see what food you have available, aka what's in your refrigerator, what is laying around. I also say, don't worry about trying to do anything special. Just write down the food you've been eating for the last so many weeks. And this is what I told Jay. I said, pretend you're not on a diet for a second. If you're going to eat McDonald's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, write that down. Now, see, you hear me say that. You hear those words coming out of my mouth. And right now, you might be saying, oh, that makes logical sense. I just write down what food I have and what I'm planning. But then when you open the notebook and you're sitting there staring at the blank page, you would actually write down McDonald's for 3 meals, or say you have leftover pizza in your refrigerator and you want to write that down, then your lower brain comes in and says, we got to lose some weight here. Your goal, the problem, is you don't like your weight. So we have to change that. And every time we have written down food, it's always been salads for lunch and this for dinner. And that's what we're going to do. And see, this is where we have to engage our higher level brain. We have to say, well, wait a second. What does Heather tell us to do? Heather tells us to write down whatever we've been doing and whatever food we have available. Well, I don't have all those things available. Or even if I do, that's not what I would normally eat under normal circumstances. When I quote unquote go on a diet, that's what I eat. But that's not what I'm currently eating when I'm not dieting, right? And see, here's where this conversation needs to happen. Your brain, your lower brain, will make everything you touch restrictive. It's the nature, because I did the other video not too long ago where I talked about how it's jumping in to help you, right? So when you've had a stressful day at work, it offers you the chocolate. It's like, okay, the file folder I pull for this stressful day at work, chocolate. Okay, she now feels better. Feel a little bit better. Now she wakes up the next morning, she steps on the scale, she doesn't like what she weighs. Restrictive diet. We're gonna really get serious, guys. We're gonna do the 1,200 calories a day, the 800 calorie program up at MetaFast or OptiFast or whatever, and we're gonna really do this. We're gonna get serious here. Oh, good, we have a plan. She feels better. Moving on to the next thing. It's constantly putting out fires, or so it thinks, right? And it's constantly offering you the same recycled garbage it's offered you every time. From a loving place, it's trying to help you, but it's doing it in a very unhelpful way, right? So if you are doing the paper pencil journal and it feels at all restrictive, hear me say this to you, it's because your lower brain's involved. And this is where the power of the academy, this is where the power of community, this is where the power of coaching is. The reason my clients have an easier time with it is because they have me there directing them to push past their lower brain and not listen to it. I'm there to tell them, no, that's not what you normally do. Let's write down what you normally do. And with somebody there kind of helping coach you through it, it really quiets that lower brain chatter, because now you have somebody else that's observing you, somebody else that's there to chime in. It's not just you with your brain by yourself, which can sometimes be a catastrophe in of itself, right? That's why people stop and start. That's why people don't see things out. I've even said this a long time ago when it came to even Weight Watchers. Start with writing down, eat the way you eat, see where your points end up. It was kind of like a paper pencil journal, but for another type of program. But most people won't do that. Their lower brain will not let them do that. If WW says I have to eat 32 points, I'm gonna work my butt off to try to hit that 32 points. But what if you were eating 100 points the day before, right? Like, that makes no logical sense. That's not you being honest with yourself, right? Your lower brain doesn't want you to be honest with yourself. It wants you to do everything perfectly to make you have that momentary, yes, now I feel better. Because when you think you've done it all correctly, when you think you've done it perfectly, it gives you that little shot of, life is better now. And I just want to encourage you to really see what's going on here. This is why you can jump from plan to plan to plan and have nothing work, and it feels super restrictive, because ultimately that's part of this whole cycle. You've got to break out of the cycle. You have to start verbalizing things, talking it out, sharing with other people. Otherwise, you're just going to repeat it over and over again. So I'm extremely proud of the Academy member who shared this question, because she could have suffered in silence. She could have felt like there was something really wrong that she didn't know how to fix, and she could have just quit on herself again. But she's like, what is up with this? Why do I keep doing this to myself? And that allows us to address it, and it allows us to point her in a different direction. So when you do the paper pencil journal, if you like McDonald's every day, that's where you start. It's not where you're gonna stay. But again, your mind isn't okay with that. But that's the reality you might be in right now. Like, if that's what you're doing, hey, I stop at Starbucks, I grab my tall latte and my sandwich, and then at lunch we go out with the coworkers and I get myself some hot dogs and pizzas or whatever, and then I pick up dinner on the way home and that's what we eat. Well, that's your reality. That's where you are right now. But if you write that down as a plan and you give yourself permission to do it, you then have the ability to improve upon it, which is not what your mind is going to want you to see. It wants to give you instantaneous relief. And whether that's through extreme restriction or whether it's through extreme indulgence, it doesn't care. It's not a thinking brain. It's not got some higher level purpose behind it. It's there to remove the discomfort you're feeling in the moment. That is it. So I hope this video is helpful. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.